Hi, this is Chris from AUX Designer, and today I want to show you how to use onGridClick in AUXPlayer. onGridClick is an action tag in AUXPlayer that when you click on the surface of a context, it returns some data. So the action is clicking on the grid, and then we get some data back based on where you click on the grid. So let me just show you. So we're going to set up a context called Room 1, and then I'm going to edit the bot of this context and add an onGridClick action tag. So here is the context bot, and I'm going to add a tag to it, onGridClick. And there we go. And then in here I'm going to do something simple. I'm going to do player.toast. And what do I want it to toast? I want it to toast that. And that refers to the data that is returned to me from my, in this case, onGridClick. So this will show us what sort of data we get back from onGridClick. So let's jump into this context, and when I click on the surface, which is tap the screen in this case, it returns some data. It returns a context, and that's room 1, and then it returns a position of X and Y of where I click on the grid. So that is all information, all data that we can use. And I'm going to show you a way that we can use this. What we're going to do is make it wherever I click on the surface on the grid, it's going to create a new bot. So I can just create new bots by clicking somewhere in the context. So we're going to do create, and then this. So that means that this context bot is the creator bot of all these bots that I'm making. And then since it's a property of an object, I have to put it in brackets. So first it goes in curly brackets, and then that.context, which is the property of an object, has to go in brackets. So that.context, which will return what? That's correct, room 1, because that's the context that we're getting back from the click, because we're clicking in this context. And I'm going to set that to true. So that's going to set the tag room 1 to true, which is going to make the bot appear in our context. So let's go look and see what that does. So I'm going to jump into the context, and I'm going to click in the context, and it just places it at 0, 0. It just puts it in the context. That's not quite what we wanted to have happen. What we wanted to have happen is wherever I click in the X and Y in this context, it positions a bot there. So we have to add a bit more to our script here. So now we want it to get that.context, which again is room 1. And we wanted to set room1.x, so we have to add that.context plus .x, so it'll add room1.x as a tag. And then we want to set that to that.position.x. And that.position.x is where we tap on the grid in only the x-axis. And then we want to get the y-axis as well. So it'll place it exactly where we tap in the context. So we just need to do the same thing, but for .y. So plus .y. And then we will set that to that.position.y, which is returned from when we click on the grid. Let's make sure that looks good. So what this will do is wherever I click on the grid, it's going to create a new bot. Pretty simple. Let's go check it out. So now I tap on the grid, and it creates a bot where I tap. So that is one example of how you use onGridClick in AUXPlayer. Thank you.